Most of the real estate agents that really want a cloned voice for their real estate business today are looking at the subscription. For example, a cloud voice service that bills you by the word or by the month, and every month for as long as you use that for your business.
And we're not going to lie, we used ElevenLabs too, but we also then built our own system capable of running by ourselves on my laptop for $0 on our own Mac, no subscription, no monthly bill, and every piece of audio is our voice that we are creating and it's producing for free.
Exactly. That's what basically a real voice cloning engine can now be a real estate business, not basically a tool that you rented for from someone or someone else, a company. Basically, you own your own right in this way.
And this is just one of the many things you can do with Agentic AI and why I love Claude Code so much. But basically, this is for the agent who wants to buy and sell and who wants all of their stuff to sound exactly like them. Not templated, not a stranger, but your extra voice. And it's not you doing an extra 3 hours a day to personally recap every voice note, every step that you need to go over every single time. So if you've ever typed out a long text message because it wasn't practical to explain the comps for the 4th time, this tool is really how you can write it in your own voice without you doing this to hawking every single time. And that's just one of the many things. So now we're really going to dump into how you can have your own tool for free.
Exactly. Therefore, we just starting something called OmniVoice. Exactly. Really a free local AI voice cloning tool that lives on your own computer, in our case, our Mac. And as we said, no subscription, no monthly bill, zero forever. And it clones a real voice from a short reference clip and somewhere around 5 to 15 seconds of the audio. And from that clip, it can generate new spoken sentences in the same voice and sentences that were never actually said it loud.
And when you think about it, you've been using ElevenLabs. You feed your own voice because it is your voice and it's something you have a right to use because it's you. And now point forward, your voice can now be a voice on demand that you're using. And here's why this matters for our business. Every time you have a clone voice, it can actually work in helping us with buyers and sellers. So we're going to first start with buyers.
Exactly. Right now, when a new lead text basically comes as a question about, for example, a square footage, about the closing date, about whatever they want that they're looking, for example, if they wrote a contract with the seller's with the contingency of selling their home, the fastest things that most real estate agent can do is typing back a paragraph or leave it until they are free to call them in person.
Now, these are just a few examples of how you can use, but with your clone voice, you now have that answer. You have and then you can send it as a real voice note in your own voice instead of texting or calling it back. So if somebody is more of someone who doesn't really text a lot and they need voice, this is a way you can actually give your voice something to say, and then you sound very professional because you're not retyping, you're not re-explaining the same thing over and over again. You're saying it in a clear way, and that's another thing. The second thing we're going to talk about is speed to lead, especially when someone's already just reached out or they are reaching out. Now, maybe you're sleeping. It can happen. We sleep sometimes. So when the buyer or the seller come in, most agents are either going to call back later or they're going to quickly text if they can't answer the phone at that very second. And I'm not texting when I'm sleeping at 3 o'clock in the morning. Exactly. Now, if you do have something that's already pre-recorded in your own voice, so when they are now, they've typed their questions and your voice went back to them immediately, it's not going to sound like the normal, simple, hey, I'm sleeping right now, I'll call you back out later. It's going to sound like exactly what you wanted. It's your pre-recorded message that now that's automatically being sent to them and into their Gmail, and it's not just an auto text or it's not just an auto can. It is how you would say something. So now it sounds like you.
Exactly. Basically, this is you that choosing to reply with your real voice, as my wife said, on your own schedule, and not a system that's firing off a, for example, automatic message the second that something comes in, and not a voice message that going out cold to someone who doesn't contact you at the first time.
Now, maybe you're doing a walkthrough with buyers who can't be there in person. An out-of-town buyer watching your video tour might have to wait days for you to go and re-record your narration, or have a follow-up question on it about a different room or a different angle or a different something else you might have to go back for. I think the recent one we had was, about electrical outlets. And they find out that later that night when your voice is cloned. You can actually have that generated walkthrough for that listing or that you just talked about, and then your voice on demand is flowing out there, so you don't actually have to rebook time. You can just kind of send, hey, this is back, and so you can explain it with your own words even if you are not there. Let's talk about seller updates, because that's my favorite one.
Exactly. Do you want to talk about it? No, you can do it.
All right, so say basically seller want to know what happened every single showing, right? What does the buyer say? What does the feedback happen? What's going on with the market? What's the price conversation? And basically it's a wall of text over and over again. Most sellers are skimming right past our text. So a short voice note that's recapping the feedback, the market update. It sounds like you're sending a note that's sending to them personally, and instead of just text after text after text that they're not really reading all the time.
And the one that is my favorite is the CMA, because during the COVID, you had those things that you need to go on the Zoom and do seller CMA presentation for them. Now you have this voice cloning. Basically, every seller seems the same category of the numbers comes price, brand, days on the market, price per square footage, and right now most of real estate agent re-explaining that the same category of numbers out loud, and call after call, and then appointment after appointment in a slightly different way every time.
So if you have a standard voiceover walkthrough on how categories work, comps, price band, days on market that you have already set to sellers early, you can record that once, keep it in your real voice, and then you can reuse that narration every time someone's going to, text you these questions. If you have a system like that, you can have instead of having a canned text, you can have a canned voicemail.
Exactly.
And now let's talk about the comps are going to be very specific for your home. That's going to be voiceover. That is going to be something that you can type into your machine or just have it say it, and then it can create those numbers for you as well. Now let's talk about the frequently asked questions on your website.
Exactly. Basically,
can I talk a little bit about frequently asked? Because the reason I wanted to is this really has to do with Google these days. So every buyer and sellers have a lot of questions, and you want to make sure that you're found with SEO. What does it take? What to go under contract? You have a lot of wall of text already on your website, probably answering these questions over and over again. So if you have these already pre-recorded and they're already on their website, maybe they either hit the button on your website where they're not calling you, but they're still getting you at 2:00 in the morning. Or they're going into your chat, and then again that's going, or when they're actually going to be reaching out to you, they've already heard your voice like a bazillion times.
Exactly. And then a clear written basically answer that's sitting right next to that audio gives Google and AI answer toolkit like ChatGPT or Gemini
or Perplexity
or any other AI agent. Which is generally the kind of the content that those tools favor when someone asks them the same question from somewhere else.
Now let's start with the social media. With your listing, let's start with the listing, right? So you have a house, 123 Main Street. Again, simple house that we always talk about. It needs market updates, it needs social media, but you don't have to sit down on camera and reshoot every single time or voice over every single time. So now once you have this house and you already have your videos going and you've already kind of set things up, your market updates are going, and it's going automatically in many ways, and your visuals can change, but your voice, what you're saying is changing, but it's really going to be about 123 Main Street. So all your social media now has your exact voice that's playing on it.
Exactly. And number 8, basically we wanted to talk about multilingual reach. This is one of the more kind that many people are actually looking for it, and they wanted to know how to do that, no?
Well, I'm just going to get really specific with that one. My husband speaks more than one language. He speaks 3 languages, which is amazing. I speak just English. Now, with that, he speaks multiple languages, and I can tell you that when he would listen to ElevenLabs, they did not have all of his languages sounding correctly on how he pronounces things, and so he didn't like it at all. So now he has an option to, now we've trained it, and it can follow exactly what he says, which means he is now going to sound like a native speaker in all the language that he speaks in his natural tones and cadence, which is an amazing thing. So a voice reader really has a way to narrate in the language and how you speak that is not necessarily going to be just a cloned AI thing. So your buyers and sellers are really understanding it is recognizably you.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry I talked to you about your languages.
No worries. And then we want to talk about team and training. If you bring in, for example, a new real estate agent or new assistant, and you wanted to do all the process of the onboarding, like basically you wanted to give them a material,
Maybe your PowerPoint
or anything, it can be all in your own voice or a teammate voice with their written permission. And this way it doesn't need to be re-recorded from scratch every time that you bring somebody inside of your team.
And this is just a few of the many ways you can use a voice agent for yourself. Now let's talk about how I built this, because honestly I was paying $1,100 per voice for ElevenLabs for both of us. Now we're saving $2,200, so that is something we should really have started with at the beginning. But basically, you don't have to be techie. I am not a coder by training. I did set some code up in the 90s, but like I don't recommend my little bits I did before anything exciting. So basically, a clone voice on demand, narrated by you, running on your computer, no monthly subscription, and it's going to actually sound like you. This is what you have to do, and it's really not that hard. I sat down with Claude and I said, I want to basically get rid of ElevenLabs, and I want to clone my own voice and have a voice generated system running on my Mac so it doesn't cost me money. So there's no recurring charges, no price per word, nothing running, and it's only running when we're generating a clip.
Exactly. And what happened?
And then Claude Code really found the engines. We went through all the commercially available ones, and we really read the terms and conditions, of course, or he read the terms and conditions, said this one might be good. And we went through a couple different options, to be entirely honest. OmniVoice wasn't the first one we tried, but it was the last one we tried because honestly, it worked the best for our voices.
Exactly.
So when you're looking at your part, we figured out by ourselves which one worked for us. Once it was installed on the Mac, once we've had it set up, once he coded it for me, it's now smooth sailing. I can just go into Claude and say, hey, I need a script for da-da-da, and he can write my script and he can send it to, and he can create the voice note for me, or he can automatically send it for me if I needed to. So it was really just a sequence of setting up, finding the test, because there are more than one option for voices. Maybe a different system is going to work for you. OmniVoice worked for us. So you can hear it coming and it's not costing you money anymore. So I don't have to pay $1,100 per voice per year anymore.
Exactly. Basically, this is based off, as my wife said, we are not a coder, no single line of the code, never open any technical manual or never learn any jargon underneath of any of these things that we talk about. And we basically describe word by word what we put there and then how we built in it. And that's how basically the whole prosperity agent approaches, that we educate ourselves and you, that you can level up your business.
So basically, when you're thinking about agentic agents, the first thing I want to think about is which ones, instead of creating your own all brand new things, which I do have some fun projects as well, we also want to look at projects that we pay for, and projects that we pay for all the time. And then I could talk to you about, like, what was the other one I recently did? But this is just a simple one. You find a thing you're paying money for every single year that you don't want to pay that money for, so now we can create it on our own for free. There was one I used for, I think it's cat. It's something we use for like understanding and forecasting our market. I'll put that in. I'll make a short form video on that one. But basically, you can just basically find systems that you work and find a way to do it for free. And that is the basic thing. And now Claude is having that as part of your bigger systems. You have a big system, and then you have all these little systems running inside the big system.
Exactly. And what it means for you exactly.
So basically, your voice is the recognizable and part of your brand. It's how you answer questions. It is your asset that's going to be reused forever, because our voices typically don't change over time. Exactly. So it's really good to have.
Again, it's a little bit more mature.
I know it. I did sound like a child. I sounded like a child long than I shouldn't have sounded like a child. But either way, it is your real voice. $0 a month, as long as you want to run it. And it's really just one of the many, many systems. And if you want to test how I created some systems, I have a free listing description in the GitHub, which is a folder on the internet that you can just read, download, and see if it works for you. So you can see how Claude Code might work for you, because I love creating systems and really working. This is just one of the many.
We are Al and Victoria Pinder, Icon Real Estate Agent with eXp Realty, founder of the Prosperity Agent. We are here to level up your real estate business. Please go in description below. As my wife said, we have some free stuff for you that you can jump on and how to use it and see if it